Welcome to my channel. Get comfortable and let's dive into today's story. The Road That Led Home. Snow fell the way it does only on Christmas Eve, soft, patient, and quiet, as if the sky itself were listening. Each flake drifted down with care, settling on rooftops, fences, and the winding road that led out of the small town of Pine Hollow. Inside a blue station wagon sat the Harper family. There was Mom, wrapped in a red scarf she'd owned since college, humming along to a familiar carol on the radio. Dad drove carefully, his hands steady on the wheel, his eyes glancing now and then at the children in the back seat. Lily, 11, leaned against the window tracing snowflakes with her finger, while her little brother Ben, 7, clutched a stuffed reindeer missing one eye. "Are we there yet?" Ben asked, for the third time in 5 minutes. Dad smiled. "Not yet, buddy. But we're getting closer." The Harpers were on their way to Grandma Rose's house for Christmas Day. Every year they made the trip, but this year felt different. The car was quieter than usual. Everyone was tired. And tucked into the trunk, beneath the wrapped gifts and overnight bags, was something else, unspoken worries, small frustrations, and the feeling that Christmas had somehow started to feel rushed. Lily sighed. "I hope the Wi-Fi works at Grandma's this year." Mom raised an eyebrow but said nothing. The road curved into the forest, tall pines standing like silent guardians. Suddenly, the radio crackled, the headlights flickered, and the car slowed. Dad frowned. "That's not good." The engine sputtered once, then died. Snow continued to fall. "Well," Dad said after a moment, "looks like we're taking an unexpected break." Ben's eyes widened. "Are we stuck?" "Just paused," Mom said gently. "Like when you stop a movie to get popcorn." Dad grabbed his phone. No signal. The forest was quiet, but not frightening. In fact, it felt peaceful, like the world had wrapped itself in a blanket. "There's a light," Lily said, pointing through the trees. Sure enough, a warm glow flickered not far from the road. Dad hesitated, then nodded. "Let's take a look. We'll be fine together." They bundled up and followed the glow through the snow until they reached a small, old-fashioned cabin. Smoke curled from the chimney. A wreath hung on the door, made of pine and red ribbon. Before anyone could knock, the door opened. "Well," said a cheerful voice, "you must be freezing." An elderly man with twinkling eyes and a thick wool sweater smiled at them. Behind him, the cabin glowed with firelight. "Come in," he said. "Christmas doesn't wait for engines." Inside, the cabin was warm and welcoming. A fire crackled. A pot of something delicious simmered on the stove. The walls were covered with handmade ornaments and framed photographs, families, children, laughter frozen in time. "I'm Mr. Alder," the man said. "I get a few travelers this time of year." Mom smiled. "We're the Harpers. Thank you for helping us." Mr. Alder poured hot cocoa into mismatched mugs. "I was just about to share a Christmas Eve tradition. Care to join me?" Ben perked up. "Does it involve cookies?" "Of course." They sat by the fire as Mr. Alder told stories, not grand ones, but gentle ones. About a Christmas when he had nothing but laughter. About a year when the power went out and the family sang by candlelight. About how the best Christmas gift he ever received was a letter from someone who missed him. Lily listened quietly. She hadn't checked her phone once. After a while, Dad checked the car again. It started right up. "Well," Mr. Alder said, standing at the door, "your journey continues." Mom hugged him. "Thank you. Truly." As they drove away, the cabin's light faded into the snowy night. The rest of the trip felt lighter. Ben told jokes. Lily leaned her head on Mom's shoulder. Dad turned the radio back on, and they all sang, loudly and imperfectly. When they finally arrived at Grandma Rose's house, the porch light glowed just as warmly as the cabin had. Grandma opened the door before they could knock. "There you are," she said, pulling them into a hug. "I was waiting." The day passed without rush. Gifts were opened slowly, with laughter and thank yous. Some gifts were small. Some were silly. One broke almost immediately. No one minded. They cooked together. Burned the rolls. Played games that took too long. Told stories they'd all heard before. That evening, as snow fell outside the window, the Harpers sat close together. Lily looked around the room, at Ben laughing with Grandma, at Mom and Dad holding hands, at the soft glow of lights and fire. "This," she said quietly, "is my favorite part." Mom smiled. "Mine too." Because Christmas, they realized, wasn't something you unwrapped. It was something you arrived at, together.